Hey there, guys. All right, as promised, I'm gonna show you how I do these plank butt scarves. Got my custom router plunge base mounted to the router. I got a 3/4 inch flush trim bit in there as a milling bit. This thing took a couple of iterations to get right. First, we were too high up above the workpiece and we didn't have enough plunge depth on the router to actually get the proper depth we wanted to run out into the end of the plank. Pretty much got it dialed in. This thing's a lot more fragile now, but a lot better for the task. So let's go ahead and route one of these. I'll do one surface and then I'll do the remaining 3. I got one more here, another 2 on the other side, and I'll show you when I'm done. All right. Should probably put a respirator on. All right, that's a little better. All right, decent scarf angle. We can clean that up a little bit, but that's what we're looking for. So now we're gonna reverse this, come in from the other side, do the same thing. Although in this one I might end up starting a little bit further back because we have this breakout here. So might go a couple inches over, kind of under where that frame is. So one thing I want to point out, guys, if ever you were wondering like how well filled out these lozenges are, if you look at that, works pretty damn well if you ask me. All right, just wanted to show you that. On to the next one. I'm gonna go in here and probably cut it off right behind where these fasteners were with the multi-tool. All right, guys, so here you see why we put the lozenges into the holes by the butt blocks underneath the planks. I might even go so far as in the future to route out even the holes closer to the butts of the planks just to get some wood in there, because you can see we are underneath this frame, which I'm not worried about it. You know, if the frame gets glued to the plank right there, I don't really care. Just make everything more rigid. See, this one, you got a good amount of space between the edge and the frame. But on this one, not so much. Before I do this one, I might just mix up a whole bunch of epoxy and just tape over the outside over there and just fill that crap with epoxy. And then I'll route it. I think that might be a good idea. Or maybe even, I have a bunch of fur 3/4 inch dowel stock, so maybe I'll just do that? I don't know, we'll see. All right, guys, so I have fur 3/4 inch dowels that I made up on my $25 Amazon doweling jig, which takes the same carbide cutters as my helical cutter for the thickness planer, which is nice. Anyway, I got these. And I just kind of cleaned up these holes a little bit. We're gonna tape it off from the outside, bring the tape up around on the inside surface of this plank so we can have a little bit of a dam so we don't get epoxy into the seams. I don't really care if the butt ends glue themselves together. I mean, they're gonna be getting a scarf over them anyway and be getting glued together, so not terribly concerned about that. So let me get this all taped up and then I will mix up some epoxy and we'll get all that filled in. So we'll let that set up. I got that thing filled in some more. Of course, you don't know what that was because I didn't film any of that. There was a divot in the wood. I got a bunch of leftovers in here, filling in those. So, new protocol established. Fill the holes on the butt ends of the planks so that we can actually get accurate milling. All right, I will see you guys whenever I get back to this. I'm reluctant to make the graving pieces before I mill the scarves in the planks because there could be unaccounted for variables. But, I mean, I guess it worked out okay with these ones. And with that all fixed up and a solid mass of material to mill on, we're not going to end up with ugly crap like this. So it'll be a lot less ugly than that, work a lot better than that, and yeah, it's going to be good. So I'll catch you guys when I get back to this. Bye! How's it going, guys? I am here in beautiful Mystic, Connecticut at Mr. Andrew Guest's little boatyard here.
Hi there.
He rebuilt that boat way over there in the distance, Rosalind. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with that. His channel is Store in Rosalind. So he's hooked me up with some of his lumber. I got the truck loaded up and got some live oak, got some locust, a bunch of white oak. Leaf springs are basically maxed out here, so. Hey.
Very nice.
Well.
Yeah. Good wide stuff too.
Absolutely, that'll make great framing stock and
all
of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where all this came from because that's like
You
sort of a
just
hobby of
forget
mine.
over the years, you know?
This stuff I think was relatively local. The locust, the oak though, this big oak, was all stuff that the Seaport was getting rid of.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's from like their scrap pile.
Yeah.
Because every time I go over there, I look at that scrap pile.
Yeah.
Man, I would love to try that.
Every once in a while, they've made a very surreptitious call out to like
Local
builders and whatnot. And they did that once, and I went and grabbed a bunch of things. So some of it could even be from Denmark.
No
Because
kidding.
they got a bunch of loads of Danish oak from the Royal Forest of Denmark.
Really? I've heard about that forest.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff.
200-year-old oak trees are planted for this purpose.
Mm-hmm. There's also probably some from Kentucky, from Berea College has a managed forest on their campus, as I understand it, with some also really lovely stuff. And then, of course, the live oak is from deep south, mostly from Hurricane Fall. So yeah.
It'll all be excellent timber, and it'll all go to excellent use. Well, Andrew, thanks so much, brother.
Very well.
And I'll probably be back, honestly.
Yeah.
But guys, let's get this overladen pickup truck back to Cape Cod. All right. See you then. All right, guys. Back in my boatyard. Back at my boat. And I should have got some footage of the other stuff that were around the yard that Andrew oversees. Is that the right word? He's the caretaker of it, at least for now. So, yeah, there were a bunch of other boats there. I think 5 or 6. All in sorry states of disrepair that nobody wants. Anyway, rotted wood on the boat, fresh wood down here. This is all the southern live oak that I grabbed. This hunk of wood that was just laying on the ground, this will be great for dead woods in here, either in the stern or in the bow. I know the one in the bow is totally roached out, and I think that should be dimensionally just what we're looking for. This is an offcut of some of that white oak over here. That in a while, but this is a good thick, heavy piece, and the rest of these will be good for just various structural things. He had a couple tamarack knees, which I didn't really have the dough for at the moment. I don't really have the dough for much of anything at any moment, but you know, whatever. My broke ass now has a good supply of white oak. This is black locust. These yellowish boards are black locust, so is this timber. And the rest of this is all nice white oak. So that's excellent. We got a lot of planking stock, a lot of framing. Planking stock? We got a lot of framing stock here. And we also have stock for our floor timbers. So, probably actually gonna label all exposed ones. We'll concoct a numbering scheme. I had already done this earlier, but I kind of abandoned it. So I'm just gonna start at these midsection ones where the frames actually butt up underneath, directly underneath the deck beams. So I'll do like SA for starboard aft, 1 through whatever, and then SF for starboard forward, 1 through however many. And I guess these will just be, you know, F1 and A1. Great, so let's label these up, and then I'll show you what I've got going on downstairs. I'm not gonna put you through actually watching all of it, because that's freaking boring watching a guy plane wood, but we have 2 of those boards down there that I'm gonna run through the thickness planer, and hopefully we can get all 5 of these out of that one board. I mean, that right there would make this whole trip today worth it. So let me get these labeled, and then we'll go down to the basement and we'll plane down those 2 boards. Well, they were actually 1 board, but I had to cut it in half to actually get it home. DOT regulations, you can only have 4 foot of overhang legally, which kind of sucks. If I can't get 5 out of it, it's because I cut it down, and that would suck. And what I'll do with these is just make them, fit them. Obviously we're not going to anchor them to the keel yet, because we have to drop the ballast keel off and then drive all these rivet things down and through. But that's for a way later date. We can just make them and fasten them to the frames, and then we'll get that rigidity down low in the bilge of the boat and just build in that structural integrity that we took out by removing those. At least that's the plan. All right. All of the floor timbers that I pulled out are now in place where they go and labeled. And that's what we at my boatyard call templates. Let's go do something with those. All right. All right, so the other 2 pieces I got, we have the floor timbers out. So I'm just gonna cut a few inches off of both of the, you know, the end grains that have been exposed to the elements, and we'll get these prepped for running through the planer. But I'm not gonna subject you to all of that. I will catch you when I am done. All right, so you can see there, I ran that through the planer. 1 pass. That is a big, heavy board, and I don't feel like running that whole thing through the planer. So we're gonna trace these out on here. It looks like I'm gonna be able to get 4 out of these 2 sections of timber. And yeah, there's a good bit of wastage on either side, but this side is kind of crap. Let's see. So that has heart inclusion going down there, and then that heart inclusion runs out up here. So that'll plane down, and it'll be fillable and usable down here. You just cut that right off and set it aside in the oak pile over there or whatever. But so that's the order of business. I'm gonna get these cut out of the raw timber right off the bat, and then we'll just take the rough cutout pieces and run them through the planer, clean them up. It's not too bad. There we go. And that is a much more manageable thing to try to run through a thickness planer. All right, I'm gonna get the other one cut out, and yeah. All right, there's one. Center pith inclusion, nothing a little bit of thickened epoxy can't fix. Being a floor timber, being in the bilge, this is gonna get completely coated in epoxy. So yeah, first use of all this timber. Good stuff. All right guys, back at it. It's Tuesday after Labor Day weekend, and I got 4 of these floor timbers all cut out, ready to go. 2 of them haven't been fitted, 2 of them have. However, I've got them all dammed up, and I'm gonna mix up some slightly thinned epoxy, and we're gonna fill in these checks that run down where the center line of the tree was. You know what? That's okay, because we have epoxy. So we're gonna use a little bit of acetone and a little bit of our good old friend Total Boat High Performance Slow Cure Epoxy. Some of those cracks are pretty deep, so let's, I think 2 pumps. So basically we're just making impromptu penetrating epoxy, which for something like this is what you want, at least for the initial pour into the cracks. You want this to penetrate nice and deep into the fibers of the wood. So now, a little splash, see where that leaves us. Maybe just a little bit more. I think that's the ticket. Set that aside. We'll go over here. Now we'll set you on this old furnace, which that's a project for another day. Remove that. All right, let's pour some thinned epoxy. And I figured that the basement floor here is probably one of the better, more level places to do this. It should just wick right down into these cracks. Alright, so this is kind of dual purpose. So I just ground down the little studs from the big steel rivets that were holding the old these things on. Yeah. What do you guys think? I'd say these turned out fairly nicely. This is actually really nice oak, with the exception of those tree center checks. As I said, liberal application of penetrating epoxy is, these will be all friggin' set. And I'll meet you guys outside and I'll show you the piece I've selected for the last one that I have to replace. It's, 10 frames, 5 floor timbers. All right, never thought I'd say this, but let's go over to our oak lumber pile and see what we got for the next one. Look at all this. Look at all that oak. Man, it makes me positively giddy. Yeah. So this one I selected here. Again, this is a really mid-section one. We got the pith a little bit lower. Yeah, we'll miss all the sapwood. We'll cut out some of the most egregiously checked stuff here. And then we'll just make that one and we'll give it the same treatment. What's up, guys? So you can see we have 5 new floor timbers in here. So these have all been epoxied. Well, they've been, shaped and fitted and epoxied on the outside. I got some of the Total Boat penetrating epoxy, and I'm using that as a sealer for all of this. Seal the end grain and everything on the wood just to give it that much more resistance to rot. So right now, I'm just sitting here speculating on fastening these, because on the existing ones, there were 2 5/16 bolts that secured each one of these to each frame. And what that means is right now, I've got enough bronze bar stock to make 17 of these bolts. I have 3 other bolts. There's 20 bolts all in all that need to be either fabricated or bought for these to actually secure them in place. So I was looking on Fair Wind, and I did all the calculations, and what did I say? For like
$370 something if you made them yourself.
Yeah, versus $395 a piece for the pre-made 4-inch bolts. And that's, you know, quantity discount, so I have to buy at least 50 in order to get that. And I was just thinking, is the extra, what, 26 cents or whatever that I'm paying for pre-made bolts worth it than wasting all of that time and effort manufacturing my own bolts? I don't know, what say you?
I think it's worth it because you can just work overtime, maybe, at work.
Try to look
Paid.
at the camera.
Hi, camera. Don't leave that on there.
Yeah, so I did the calculation based on what I get paid for overtime at work.
At his current wage, it would be like $9.
$9 per bolt if I'm doing like 5 bolts every hour. If that's like what I can manufacture myself.
So it's worth it for him to just pay,
you know,
25 cents or whatever.
And there's 26 cents extra as opposed to $9 of labor extra. And a lot of labor too, because as it sits right here, for just these 5 floors, that's 17 fasteners that I have to make. And then that uses up all of my bronze bar stock versus, you know, like 200 something bucks for 50 of the bolts. Only problem is we're on a shoestring budget. And
We did have a Patreon contributor that
yeah, I just looked at the
is
Patreon.
going to be helping with this most recent
What was that guy's name?
I can't remember his name, but he's
He's
a
a nice
very
guy. He actually ended up finding where we lived and stopped by the house early on in the whole project. And he's been the only one that's been consistently with us on Patreon.
I know we don't really do anything on Patreon, and I know that probably irks some of you, but we don't really
Yeah,
have
you
time
expect something
We don't have
something in
time to
return for
work
the money.
on the boat and make extra content
Right.
because we do have a family.
And quite honestly, I know you guys would probably like to see more of her, but honestly, when I'm working on the boat, she's inside dealing with the kids or doing whatever. So
he has been getting me to do the riveting though, and we've got it down to a science. We can probably
well, they know that. Yeah, the
most
how did I
recent
turn
one,
it?
it was like what, 20 minutes per frame or something?
Something like that.
It was
20 minutes to a half an hour.
Really fast compared
Per
to the
frame.
first frame, which was like
For just the riveting.
3
of course.
hours. The first frame with the regular hammer.
Manually peening.
That was
like what? That was maybe half a day.
it
Just doing the riveting. I mean,
it was ridiculous. We had to drive our kiddos to watch their brother the entire time. I could hear them, so if anything happened, I would stop and go help them. But they kept him happy.
the virtues of working on the boat right next to the house, you know, and especially in nice weather, the windows are open. What do you guys say? Do you think we should just pay a little bit of extra money and just get a bunch of these bolts? Or should I just make them out of bar stock? Because I have very limited time, as well as money. You know I'm limited in money. But I have very little time to devote to this. And if I'm wasting... So if I can do like 5 of these an hour, I have 17 of these. That's a little over 3 hours that I could be tearing out another set of frames and another floor timber, doing all of that instead of dicking around in the basement manufacturing bolts. Yeah, and of course, in that calculation I made, that's pre-tax. So if we're talking about like take-home pay and regular pay, it still ends up being like $5 of labor versus like 25 cents per bolt.
It's worth it.
I mean, 10 frames, all the corresponding floor timbers done. Which, by the way, thank you, Andrew, of Restoring Rosalind, for that.
Yeah, we were really, really having a hard time finding wood, so that made a huge difference.
It's not necessarily finding it. There's suppliers of white oak and locust and all of this.
Affording wood.
Right, like having the money on hand to just go get a bulk load of lumber. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the real tough thing.
And
It'd be one thing if we had a marine boat yard right down the street and I could just go get it piecemeal because it's right there, but
yeah, we were right
unfortunately, it's either like driving out to Western Connecticut or driving up to Maine, buying a bulk load, and at that point we're talking, I don't know, at least $1,000, if not more, for a truckload of oak or cedar or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Andrew, man.
We can't afford that, so
Good
thank
looking
you so
out.
much.
Good looking out, brother. That was a real help. Even though some of this is kind of checked That's actually kind of
pallets.
well.
I don't think you can.
I wouldn't have been able to make these things out of pallets. So anyway, guys, I'm actually gonna try to get my PayPal account linked too. So if you guys wanted to do like a one-time donation or something, it looks like with the ad revenue from like the last 8 months, plus that $60 from Patreon from that one guy. Thank you very much. I forget your name, bro. I thank you. Oh wait, by the way, there's 5 of you who are subscribed on there, but you're not paid. Like, so pay.
That's a new thing on that platform.
So just to let you guys know, if I ever post anything over there for bonus content, you unpaid subscribers there are not going to receive any of that.
Yeah.
All you'll get is public posts.
You'll get the same stuff as YouTube.
Right. Well, not even that. I don't upload everything I upload to YouTube on Patreon. That'd be ridiculous. No, because they have upload limits. I would have to start paying for Patreon.
You can't just like do links to the YouTube pages on like a.
I could probably do links.
That might work.
I'll have to look into that. And if there's any other platforms by which you can help us with this project, feel free to spout off down in the comments below. What do you guys use, or what would you use if you wanted to help out with this other than Patreon? I could do like channel memberships. A lot of guys do that.
And if you guys have any ideas for like what we could, with limited resources and time, provide extra,
yeah, what would you?
we're definitely up for doing something. We just haven't come up with any ideas.
Right. What would you guys
that
like
we
to
can
see for your money?
feasibly do.
So if you support this project monetarily, what would you guys like us to give to you as a thanks for that?
Yeah, that is not overwhelming.
Right, and that's above and beyond the boat project. Because, you know, we don't really have much going on in our lives. We got the family, we got the boat, we got, you know, we're not like party people. We're not going out to bars or doing anything
No, it's pretty much
fun.
just-
So anyway, guys, thank you for watching.
We're making progress.
We're making awesome progress.
And because of the donations of wood, we are making a lot more progress than we would have otherwise.
Yeah.
Very quickly, which is awesome.
And that was a godsend. And that boatyard down there is a freaking treasure trove. I mean, it's nice. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button down below. Feel free to leave a comment. It really helps with the algorithm. Even if it's just like, hi, comment. Just leave something down there. It really helps boost the video.
I've heard that the comments mean more than the likes.
Or the subscribes.
Really?
Maybe. I don't know.
We don't know a lot
I
about
don't
social
know.
media.
We're
trying.
kind of Luddites. Really. I haven't been on my Facebook page in at least a year.
Does anyone
And I
use
think-
Facebook? Thanks
I don't know.
for watching
Hey,
us.
would you guys like a Facebook page for this project? I mean, I don't really use Facebook, but I don't know if you guys want, that could be like a repository for like photos and stuff.
Or quick links to the YouTube
Yeah.
things, which aren't very consistent, but we're going to have more time to do general videos because of the winter, because we can't really do it.
Yeah, winter's coming,
Can't
and
really do much epoxy in
even with
winter.
cold weather epoxy, you're limited to like 45 degrees, or else
Yeah.
that stuff ain't gonna kick off. Anyway, you know, winter coming, I'll try to get a little bit more filmed and edited and uploaded. You know, if I want you guys to help finance this, I got to give you something more than what I'm giving you, I think.
I would say so.
Yeah.
But it is hard because
It's hard.
Like we said, we don't have a lot of time, and there is a lot of time. Of the time that we have, it's spent on doing this. He comes home from work, spends a little bit of time with us, and then works at his boat for a couple of hours. So.
Or I'm just too shot from slinging stones around all freaking day that I just want to sit and relax. That happens more often than not, too. Can't even call that laziness.
It's
It's
not
just
laziness.
freaking tired.
You have a hard job.
Yeah.
It'll keep you fit though, as long as you don't break anything.
Right?
Okay.
Alright. Well, anyway, guys, that's enough of us yammering and rambling. Thank you so much for watching. Please do consider supporting this. It really helps. Like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. And we will see you on the next one.
Take care, guys.
Take care. I'm just going to take this and made this straight edge up. We're just going to check and see how this looks. Oh, it's too long. That's that sucks. I'm gonna have to go cut that down. Take care.